So welcome again to another recording, this time related with the Webmaps feature enablement, let's say. So on your Mergin Maps Enterprise Edition, you have this component, let's say, available for you, and basically it's up to you if you want to enable or not. So a bit about web maps. You can follow up the documentation here on this URL, but enables you to have a WebGIS type of view over your projects on the dashboard. So it is an easy and clean way to inspect some of the projects without having to load them on QGIS, etc. So it has some basic features such as layers, turning visibility, get feature info over features, etc. So here you can see a bit about it, and this is the most important aspect of it. So once you have your projects to be enabled or to be visible on the Web Maps extension of the Mergin Maps platform, you should set the project on its properties to have at least the advertised view here on the main QGIS option here enabled with a default extent or with the set project full extent also here on the view settings. So basically this is the startup extent that the viewer, the Web Maps viewer will open, and this is basically the full extent that you allow for your users to pan out the map canvas. If you already have a project on your platform and you enable later the Web Maps feature, most likely it will appear this message, and this only means that you need to have your projects correctly set up for the Web Maps extension. So please add these two features here on your project settings and update the QGIS project file on your project over your Mergin Maps sync, and once that is done, you should be able to see your project in the Web Maps view. On the configuration side, you will be dealing here again with the environmental variables, and namely these three ones that are here highlighted under the Web Maps section. So first one and most important is the maps enabled. Remember, it is shipped to you or available to you by default on your Enterprise Edition, so it is defaulted to true. If you don't want to use it, you have to make it false, force it to false in this case. This is what we will see in a few moments, because I have this instance running and I have flagged it to false. And here, if I go to this building demo project, here you only see the default tabs, files, history, collaborators, but if you have it enabled, the Web Maps, after files you will see here a map tab, new tab. The other environmental variables that you need to be aware is the vector tiles URL. So if you already have a vector tile server running, or if you have an account with a company that runs a vector tile server, you can point your instance to that server. And if not, we have let's say a template vector tiles service that is available for you with some OpenStreet map type of styling, and you just need to warn us about your domain name of your host machine that you will be deploying your Mergin Maps installation, in order for us to whitelist it on our server. The other one environmental variable is the style URL. So as you know, on vector tiles you can have different style sheets, let's say, as if it was style sheets for the older WMS protocol, and this enables you to render the vector tiles differently. We have also this option, of course, in our server with a default style. So let's have a look at how it looks in terms of the file that we need to change. So our production file, and we need to navigate until the map section appears. So this is the map section here, and as I already told you, I have flagged the maps enabled to false in order for us to see the change. So here we need to have this to change to true. Here on the overview data you can change it. So overview data is basically where the rendering engine creates the images that will be delivered to the front end, and this is a kind of a volatile type of data that is written and then deleted after a while. So if you want to have this in another location or fast disks type of thing, please be aware that this path is written also on the compose files that are namely the QGIS ones that we will see later on, and also on the celery worker that is responsible for delivering these tiles. Here the vector tiles URL and style URL that we already talked about. So by default they are targeting our servers. If you already have a tile server running or in another subscription with another company, you can change this as well. If you are planning, since the Webmaps infrastructure is also available on a dedicated compose file, you can have this infrastructure in another side server. Let's say if you have an option to use really tiny servers and you don't want to have a more beefy, or let's say with more resources instance, you can also have the Webmaps components in a different server. This is just to remind you that you need to change these URLs if you do this. If not, they will be targeting the services that are running alongside your Mergin Maps instance installation. So for the Extractor URL and also for the WMTS server that is responsible to deliver the tiles to the front end. Also, you might need to change the timeout if you have very complex project that is relying on database and third-party layers, etc. This might hit the default timeout, which is 60 seconds, but it's not likely to do. And also we are limiting the tiles or overviews image files to 1 megabyte. Should be more than enough on most use cases, but if you see that the error on the celery size is related with the final image size, maybe you want to increase this a little bit further. So we will change then the maps enable to true. This is the only change that we will do, and we will write our file, and now we will do the normal docker up -d. So this is basically to recreate all the containers that are targeting this environmental file in order to fetch the latest configuration changes. So once this is done, and if we navigate to our project folder, let me do here one step down and then here and do a refresh. So I need to refresh the cache of this page, of course. And now we can see the maps, new map tab here under this building demo project. And if I click on it, you can see that the map data is correctly set. Let me just zoom in a little bit. So it seems the images are not correctly set. So let me do, I forgot one step, which is to have the map data folder correctly set in terms of permissions. Let me check if this is the case here, and let me do a refresh here. Let's do some debugging here. So we need to trace on the salary worker for now to check if there are oh yeah, of course I forgot to, so I forgot one last step, which is of course to have the web maps components up. So that was the missing step. So first we did was to change the let's say the core or the base infrastructure of Mergin Maps platform, recreate it, and of course now I need to also initiate the Docker web maps dedicated compose file. So it's here, and you can have a look later on about the component of it. And of course I need to do a Docker compose up -d, and this will create 3 extra containers for the web maps component. So a QGIS server in order to read the project files and to render them properly, a QGIS extractor in order to generate the tiles that we will be checking on the web maps interface, and a small Nginx to serve as a proxy server. Now we should be able to see our features. There they are. So if you have this problem, remind that you need also of course to have the web maps stack also up. And here you can enable or disable some of the features, some buildings, can enable or disable the base map, and the most important thing probably is that you have the get feature info in a nice preview. So here I clicked on top of 2 features, so 1 parks and 1 building, so you can see here, and this is the main feature that we have here for the web maps. Thank you.